Welcome to the Heartful Healing Hub podcast. I am Diane, your host, frequency intuitive and energetic healing guide, here to hold space for transformation through sound, energy, and sacred storytelling. You're listening to Healed and Whole Stories of Remembering, a special series where I sit with women who've walked through deep health challenges and emerged transformed. These are conversations that are sacred, heart to heart, soul to soul, filled with truth, resilience, and the power of coming home to yourself. May these conversations inspire your own inner healer to awaken. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. Today, I am sitting here with Miss Christina Nelson, and I will pull up her bio so I can read it for you. Christina is a registered nurse in a level 1 trauma center OR. She found her calling in holistic health and breath work. She struggled with anxiety and nervous system dysregulation for decades before she found breathwork. She went from survival to thriving. That is absolutely amazing. During COVID, she realized how much others needed these same skills. So she had enough energy to start her own business and teach others truly life-changing knowledge. She is the founder of Calm Peaceful Life Membership, and she helps guide people into thriving. Welcome, Miss. How are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and I understand we're going to do a little breath work first. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's great. I love to set the tone, and I feel like we're able to connect to our best self much more easily when our nervous system is in our rest and heal state. So it's super easy to do. It's one of these magical switches that we were gifted with. So you have your sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and your parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and heal. So most of us are living in that sympathetic state, but we can use our breath to flip the switch and move over to the parasympathetic. So let's just go ahead and close our eyes and focus inwards towards our heart. And just notice where your breath is landing in this very moment. And it might be in your chest, it might be in your belly, it might be fast, it might be slow. We just observe it, become aware of it, and don't judge it here. And then I'm just going to have you move this breath, if it's not already there, down into the belly. So this belly breath, I'm going to have you expand the belly fully on the inhale and contract the belly fully on the exhale. So if you looked down at your belly, you would see it rising and falling. This is called the diaphragmatic breath. This breath is your parasympathetic breath. This breath is so healing, so nurturing, so beautiful for your entire body. When you fully expand the abdomen and fully contract that diaphragm, this is a massage for all of your organs, a massage for your lymph nodes. And it's really getting you a bigger dose of oxygen. It's telling your body that you're safe. It's letting you know that you don't have to rush. You don't have to move fast. You can just be in the here and now with your body and with your breath. So this is a great breath to do before you eat. It allows you to put yourself in a digestion mode, tell your body that we're going to be assimilating all of the nutrients. And you can go ahead and open your eyes if you're ready. And it's also great to do before you go to bed. And it's really just good to check in with your breath like this throughout the day. If your breath is in your chest and it's shallow, you're not alone. Most people live in this little kind of a state, and that is your fight or flight kind of a state. If you find yourself there, you can just follow the breath into the belly and reset. I do this oftentimes throughout the day. In the beginning, I would maybe set a timer to remind myself if it's not a habit. But I started like connecting it to different activities, especially while I'm at work in the hospital, because I'm always going to go to the bathroom at some point. So every time I go to the bathroom, I check in with my breath. I'm always going to go and eat a meal at some point, and then I check in with my breath. Doing these things helps to keep us at a steady, more stable place. Also, if something dramatic happened, which in a trauma center, it happens, then I try to reset, go into my breath. I might take a little time to do a little more breathing, a little deeper breathing, and just really cultivating that feeling of safety within myself. So I hope this helps set everybody up for good habits. Otherwise, would you like me to go into where I started?
Yeah, no, if you want to do that. And just two things that came up when you were talking there is that, like, the habit of stacking things on top of like the breath work and on top of things that you already do that you do already is amazing. Like it's not, you're not really taking extra time. You're just, like when you're brushing your teeth, for example, if you just think about, where's my breath at? Or like you said, have a meal or go to the bathroom. And then there's just this little habit of just stacking things that are healthy for us on top of things that we're already doing anyway. So that's like a marvelous piece of advice, because people just, like, when am I going to think about doing the extra things? I'm already busy. Well, just, just stacking things. And then what I was going to say, I love the belly. And but what often, like, and I do this all day long, like every time that I just think about it, I'm just, okay, where's my breath at? Like, what am I, just pause for a second. And then, but what I'll do sometimes, I'll kind of focus the breath. I know it's not technically going there, but I'll focus my breath as if it was going to my heart to slow it down. So that's one thing.
That's beautiful. That's really connecting with your intuition. So for me, at least, my intuition kind of lives in my heart space. And I feel like I'm able to more connect in with my higher knowledge, my higher power, all of my guides, really spirit, when I focus in on my heart space, because we really want to move through our life from our hearts, not from our mind. That's when we start getting in trouble, because all kinds of things go on in your mind and they're not necessarily the best.
Yeah, that little ego sometimes wants to take control of everything. And yeah, we need it sometimes to make, decisions, but following our instincts, like you said, and following our inner wisdom is what I call it too. a lot of times, more often than not, it's going to be the right decision for us. But yeah, so yes, absolutely. If you want to go into how you got started and like your story and just that, yeah, I'd love to hear that.
All right. So I hope it doesn't depress anybody, but I started out with kind of a traumatic childhood. Things weren't really set up for me to be able to thrive. My parents both had mental health issues. My mom was really, she was there, but mentally she wasn't there. She was very depressed. She spent most of her time in her bed. And my father had an anger management issue, and it did come out on all of us. So, and he worked third shift. So I wasn't allowed to speak, make noise, any of these things in the house during the day. And as a child, that was not an easy expectation to set. So it probably comes as no surprise as I matured into my teenage years. I had severe social anxiety. I didn't want to be seen and I didn't want to be heard. Shocker, after not being allowed to do that for so long, it felt like I was going to die if I became like the center of attention. It was very severe. My parents did divorce, but I had a bit of agoraphobia going on, where I just wanted to stay home, stay safe, things like that. I did leave the house and have fun with my friends, and make not the best choices, but for the most part, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't speak in front of you just for fear. Oh my God, they're going to judge me. They're going to this, they're going to that. There was these crazy anxiety spirals going on in my mind. My hormones were all out of whack as a teenager, and well, my whole life really. Later on, I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I actually, yay, managed to heal it, so it didn't really show up on labs anymore as an active issue in my life. So it was pretty cool. But as time went on through my teenage years and I struggled so hard, I used a lot of marijuana to cope with this overwhelming anxiety, and I was really in a depressive kind of a state. And it continued on into my 20s. I made all of the worst choices for myself in my life. I worked third shift. I smoked cigarettes. I drank soda, nothing but soda, all the sugar, and ate fast food. I didn't have like a nutrient in my body. And as you can imagine, I felt terrible. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I was really and truly suffering. But I kept having the I'll be happy when syndrome. And it really, I think, saved my life, because if I had been like, this is it, I don't know if I would be in this world anymore. But I was like, no, when I get a house, I'll be happy. I bought a house at 21, a duplex. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm not happy. So I'm like, I know when I go to school and I become a nurse, I'll be happy. So then I went to school and I became a nurse, and I still wasn't happy. And like, I kept chasing happiness. I knew it was out there. I knew it was a possibility. I just had no clue how to get to it. And I didn't really see a lot of people in my immediate life that were truly happy. I had no models. I had no roadmap. I just knew this elusive happiness existed. So I kept going, thank God, because when it came to my 30s, I'm like, I know when I get healthy, when I, change my diet and exercise, then I'm going to be happy. And you know what? It did get rid of my depression. I managed to get rid of my depression by moving my body, giving myself nutrients, shifting to a first shift job. And it took me years to get my circadian rhythm back in line. But through that, the depression was gone, but those anxiety loops just kept looping, the negative thoughts, the worst case scenarios, the worrying about something that happened 20 years ago, the worrying about something that was going to happen 20 years from now. There was always something to worry about. It was just constant, non-stop. So I decided, because it's me, and we are most comfortable with what we're used to work in a trauma center. So I could experience trauma every day and chaos and all of these things. But that's where I was most comfortable.
That was your normal.
Yeah, was safe.
Yeah.
Because that's what the ego says. That's what happens when we live from our mind. Yeah. And through working in the trauma center, being very empathic, really, feeling a lot and taking things on from my patients, not to mention all of the stuff that I had accumulated over the years, having zero coping skills to release all of this stuff. I was breaking down. I got rid of the depression, but I was just such an anxious mess. I had trouble concentrating. I had a lot of brain fog. I had a lot of just, inability to be present in any given moment. And it wasn't healthy at all. It was getting worse and worse. And physically, I was starting to break down. Things weren't going to be feasible much longer. And that's when, of course, we have our breakthrough. So I found some meditation, and I just loved meditation. Occasionally I could get the release and the relief that I needed, but it was like a sitting still and just, repeating like a word in my mind kind of a thing. And it was not active enough for me. I had too much anxiety. I had too much going on in my mind. I needed something active. And then I found breath work and Kundalini meditation, which you can use mantras, you can use different like body positions or arm movements along with your breath. And I could do that or chants, different things like that. But it was a lot of breath work, a lot of nervous system regulation. And that's when I really started to thrive. And I had a beautiful Kundalini awakening probably about 3 months after starting it. And it was really kind of the carrot that I needed to know that I could live in my joy and my happiness. So I was walking on a cloud for probably about 3 to 4 months. I was living in bliss, in joy. Everything was just beautiful. All of my problems were these tiny little things that I'm just like, oh, that's not a problem. We'll just step right over that. The solution's right here. I got a $7 an hour raise out of nowhere. I was just magnetic, and everything was coming into my life so easily, so flowy. It was like somebody had flipped a switch and given me this elusive happiness that I had been chasing my entire life. And I just lived there for months, and it was the best thing ever. And of course, as lives, I came out of that state and more reality of this world creeped in. And I'm like, no. But I believe that I was gifted those 3 months of just feeling amazing to show me this is possible. This is how you can live. You just need to do this work. You need to get rid of all this stuff you've been holding on to, all of these limiting beliefs, all of these traumas, all of these emotions living in your body. You've got 40 years built up. Like, we've got to start getting it out so that you're really in this beautiful state. And so I was probably practicing every single day consistently for about 5 years when COVID hit. And I was pretty good, but like, being that now I had this awareness, this presence, and this ability to observe what's going on around me, I'm just watching, because I had to work in the hospital. If you were in COVID in the hospital, it was chaos everyone was freaking out from the very top to the very bottom. We had anesthesiologists just, I'm done. I quit. I'm not dealing with all these airways of these sick people. I'm just going to retire. Like, I'm not doing it. So those people that I've witnessed my entire career, you know, dealing with these traumas, these crazy events with calm, cool, collected, like never like losing their stuff. They all they're losing their minds. Our housekeepers are stealing all the hand sanitizer and the toilet paper. And, you know, from top to the bottom, everyone's freaking out collectively, including the patients as well. They should. But the people that I was used to being these pillars of, you know, support and strength, they're all just crumbling under this.
They collapsed, yeah.
Sure. So that's when I was like, yeah, I need to start teaching this, because where I live in the Midwest, I live in Wisconsin, this kind of stuff is not really a thing. We are known to be the bar capital of the world. We have more bars per capita than any place in the entire world.
Really?
There's every street corner. This is what we do. We don't deal with emotions. We drink our emotions away. You know, you just walk right past that thing. You get a Medal of Honor if you like plow through your feelings and ignore them. But I'm like, no, this is not working, guys. We have to get it together. So that's what I decided to teach. And I've been doing in-person teaching since around 2022. And I really, really enjoy it. And through that, I cultivated my online membership now. And it's really just in the space of, yes, it's amazing and it's beautiful to come and do your hour-long class once a week. But that's not what is going to sustain your nervous system. You need to have a daily practice. You need to cultivate these tools and use them on an ongoing basis in order to be able to thrive. And anyone and everyone can fit 5 minutes of a breathwork class or practice into their day. So I like to recommend starting off in your morning routine with doing the breath work the first thing, or connecting in, doing something to program your mind into a receiving state and really focusing in on what you want, because our reticular activating system is most active when we're in the in-between state of waking up and becoming fully awake, and when we're going to sleep and going fully to sleep.
Yeah, that's the theta state.
Mm-hmm.
The theta brain state.
Yeah. So, you know, the reticular activating system is a beautiful thing. It's our filter for the world. Without it, we would go insane if we got all of this input of literally everything that's coming at us at any given time. And, you know, it's the old, I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but you go to buy a red car, a red Cadillac, and next thing you know, all you see everywhere is red Cadillacs. It's because you set your filter up that this is an important car. So now you're going to see it everywhere. And this is how we program our mind to see our opportunities and to see the things that we want to bring into our life instead of all of the things that we don't want. So me, as a very anxious worrywart that would wake up thinking of all, like, I'm already worried and I'm thinking all these negative things when I'm opening my eyes in the morning. That's not how I want to program my day. I want to bring in good stuff. I don't want to bring in the worst case scenario, because if I'm setting myself up to see that, of course, that's all I'm going to see. I'm not going to see the positives. It's not even going to register in my filter. I've already programmed my brain for the negative loops and to ignore the positive possibilities, because we quite frankly are telling our brain what we want to see in that state. So it's pretty cool. And that is kind of the foundation of how I help people start to really change their life, create the space in order to be able to thrive. Because if you would have asked me probably I'd say 6 years ago, would you be teaching breath work, having an online membership, going on podcasts, putting yourself out there for the world to see? I would have told you, you're nuts. Absolutely not. I'm going to focus on myself and just make sure I'm okay. And that's what I need to do. But now I have so much space created through these practices, through really processing my emotions, allowing myself to feel them, fully feel them, and let them out of my body, because I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, and I've said this many times with on other episodes. We're taught to just plow through and not deal with anything, and to give our power away to whoever. Like, we're not taught to listen to our own intuition and feel, as you said, our emotions, and actually deal with them, and then let them pass through. Because sometimes, most times when we don't do that, they get stuck somewhere, and then we end up with who knows what. Like, I ended up with cancer, but and other people have other things. So it's important to, yes, to learn. I should say, to remember, because we know how to do this. We're just being we from babyhood, we're just being taught that this is no, 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 no. We know better than you. So give me your power and I'll fix you. It's like, no. But I mean, sometimes, yes. I mean, you work in a hospital, so yeah, sometimes you need doctors, medical doctors, to fix your broken arm. But when it comes to a lot of our emotions, as you said, we have innately, we have the ability to deal with them. It's just a matter of remembering how to. So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
For sure. And
And breath work is an absolutely awesome for that.
in the process of doing the breath work and connecting in with yourself and doing this nervous system regulation, it's a beautiful thing, because it actually gives you the ability to make healthier choices. If you are exhausted and just surviving and dragging yourself through the day, you've created a life that's so busy that you don't have time to take care of yourself, or you don't have the energy to take care of yourself. You're going to make less healthy choices. You're going to eat the easy thing. You're going to drink whatever numbs you out. You're going to sit there and, Netflix and lose your cognizant brain and get programmed with whatever's on the TV. So making room and space allows thriving. I can't say it enough. Like, once you oxygenate your body and you give your cells the stuff, like, it really allows you to be able to thrive, and you start to be able to connect in with your body. So when I was in survival mode, I couldn't feel my body. I felt just tired and I felt like crap, but I couldn't really connect in with my body. My mind lived, and I feel like it was like one of those little thought bubbles. It was like up here somewhere. And it was so interesting, as I was rewiring my brain, that I would start to notice when I was disconnected, and I would be like, oh my gosh, like, where is my breath? And then I would like notice I'm like hunched up like this and I can't breathe. And I'd pull my shoulders back, lift my head up, and take a full deep breath. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm in my body. And it was really creating that connection and allowing myself to feel like what is going on. And, the breath work gave me the ability to start becoming aware, because so often people would say stuff like, well, when you notice this, do that, or this, that, the other. And it's like, I don't notice anything but these crazy thoughts going on in my mind. Like, I can't focus on anything else, but through that, like, and I'm just so happy that it came to me, because I don't think I would be a nurse right now if not for breath work. I think I would have had to physically bow out and do something else. But now I'm able to show up for my patients, and they're literally experiencing the worst day of their life. They just had a major trauma, and I can hold their hand and be fully present for them and make cognizant decisions and be present, and not take on their stuff like I was, which they can feel that. It doesn't help them to have an anxious person with them. Now that's just feeding their anxiety. But now I'm grounded, centered, and present. And I am a better nurse for it. I am a better wife for it. I am a better mom for it. All of the things. And, a lot of times, especially where I live, taking care of yourself is considered selfish. Putting yourself like number one is considered to be a selfish act. How could you do that? Your kids are number one, your husband's number one, your church is number one, your this is number one, your that is number one. Absolutely not. Because if your cup is completely empty, you don't have anything to give. So you're going to end up in a hospital bed, going through whatever. And now you're good for giving nothing to anyone. And now everyone's going to have to take care of you. And that's literally sometimes what it takes for people to turn it around. And I just wish they could see that, like, it doesn't take a lot. Like, it's not like you have to go do an hour-long deep dive emotional thing every day. You just need to check in, be present, and be cognizant. Oh, what am I eating? Am I eating this because, it's going to fuel my body, or am I eating this because I'm feeling stressed out and I just want, a hit of caffeine or sugar or whatever it is? And like, all of these things just add up over time. And like, it's not like, like I did have the Kundalini awakening and I went into bliss like that, but that's not the norm. After that wore off, like I had to just stack the things slowly and build it up over time. But I got to tell you, if it wasn't for breath work and regulating my nervous system, I definitely wouldn't be on this podcast today. I definitely wouldn't be extending my energy and my love out to the world, like giving this beautiful invitation. Like, please just take a little time to take care of yourself. You won't regret it. You will reap 100 times more benefits, and everyone around you will too. Your kids are going to be so much happier with a mom that's not snapping at them because she's like at her wit's end constantly. Your husband's going to be so much happier when you like actually look at him and pay attention to what he's saying, and you're not running through your to-do list, and when you show up to your career or whatever, and you can fully invest yourself into it. So yeah, I love breath work. As you know, I love nervous system regulation, and holistic health is really my dream for the world, because yes, I work in the medical system, but I have to tell you that the trauma surgery and all of that stuff is absolutely necessary. But this big pharma pill push, a pill for every ailment thing, it's gotta go. We need to connect into our true self. We need to connect into our body, because if, there's so many things that we could get rid of if we wanted to. And that might ruffle a lot of feathers, but it's the fact of the matter. Like blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, my hormonal stuff, like all of these things can be managed through giving your body healthy foods, healthy water, nervous system regulation. All of these things you can invite into your life and put down the pill and take responsibility for yourself, because that's truly what it is. We are responsible for our experience in this world. And if you are hating your experience right now, you have the power to change it. Absolutely, 100%. It took me 30 years to do that, but it doesn't have to take any of you the same. Like if something is not right, you have the power to fix it.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful message. I love that because yes, I mean, and a lot of the this ease that you mentioned, it's they're all lifestyle related. I mean, it's been proven again and again that it, like for example, my mother had diabetes, and a good friend of mine is dealing with that as well. So it's like, unfortunately, it's often easier to take the pills and to do this than changing your lifestyle and taking charge of your life. And it's like, well, yes, of course, but you wouldn't have to feel so crappy, and you wouldn't have to be doing all these things, and you'd have such a happier life, a better life, if you just, and it doesn't have to be an overnight thing either. Like you can make little tweaks at, breath, start with breath work, and just make little tweaks along the way. Like, and then, you end up at the end of 6 months or a year, and your life is totally different than it was. So it's, yeah, I mean, preaching to the choir as far as I'm concerned. I mean, holistic health is that's what saved me. So,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. I totally believe in that. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
it is a journey for sure.
Mm.
I had to teach myself how to cook, all of the things, because my mom, God love her, but she was a terrible cook. Like, just,
Mine too.
yeah, I thought that homemade food was disgusting, and that was why I survived on fast food. I'm like, well, this tastes good, and it's right there. So it's an easy thing to do, but it's so unhealthy for you. So yeah, just accumulating changes over time. Yeah, like instead of like completely stopping soda, I think I went to like adding in a little more water or flavored water or whatever. And it was totally a journey. And quitting smoking, man, that was literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I failed and I failed and I failed until it finally switched. And it was a beautiful thing because, well, it wasn't a beautiful thing, but yeah, like smoking is so unhealthy for you, and it really did affect me. And I hadn't smoked for like 6 months, and I decided, I went and I smoked like half a pack of cigarettes. Like, and I'm like, oh, I'll just feel better when I have the cigarette. That's gonna make me feel great. No. But anyway, so I smoked this half a pack of cigarettes. I was in the shower and a huge clump of my hair fell out because it restricts your blood flow to that degree. And I'm like, oh my God, like I would rather have my hair than smoke cigarettes. And that was it. And I shifted my identity like that. And sometimes that's what it takes. Like we just have to be done, and we
Yep.
can step into that new identity, and we can. And like, yeah, I just didn't think of myself as a smoker anymore. Like before that, I thought of myself as a smoker. Like all of my day was like wrapped around, when do I get my next cigarette? And, it was such a beautiful thing to release that demon. And I really feel like cigarettes have that kind of succubus energy, because they convince you they're helping you, but they're really hurting you, and they are so good at it. But yeah, it was a great day to lose a clump of hair, because it really helped me shift into the non-smoking identity and release that once and for all.
Yeah, I mean, I applaud you. Like like there's so many people that they are able to do that overnight. But as you said, it's a matter of making the decision, and just like, okay, this is not me anymore, and that's it. Or like I said, sometimes people can't do that, so it's just little bits at a time. Like my daughter, I applaud her. I'm absolutely in awe of what she's done. I mean, she was not an alcoholic, but she decided that alcohol was not going to be a part of her life anymore. So it's been 2 years now, and she just like quit like that. And same with smoking marijuana. She was doing that for a little bit, well, for a long time actually. And she just tried to quit and tried to quit and tried to quit. And then it was really difficult for her. And then, like that, again, that was it. And she tried a couple of times, and it made her sick. So now she's like, and that's what, we were talking about, dealing with emotions. Those were her crutches. Those were how she was dealing with life, and trauma and everything that's going on. But now she's learning how to deal with her emotions fully. And I'm like so proud of her. She's doing amazing. So yeah. And she has two daughters, so she's like a wonderful role model for them. And I'm like so applaud her. But yeah.
Absolutely. I no longer use any kind of mind altering substances. And it's not because I was addicted to them. I guess maybe I might have been a little addicted earlier on in my life as a coping skill. But like if I use them, like anytime I tried drinking in the last 10 years and anytime I've smoked marijuana or done anything like that, it's actually brought me down. So if my baseline is up here, what sense does it make to bring myself down here? Like, absolutely not. We're trying to get better and better, not lower and lower. And when your body, when you're living in a state and you're feeling a way in your body that is like, I feel really good. You can feel when things aren't good for you, and it helps you make these better choices for yourself. And yeah, life gets easier because that stuff gets less appealing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Any last words of wisdom, madam? I'm so grateful. Everything you've said has just been amazing. But
oh, thank you. The words of wisdom I have is if you are going through something really hard or life just feels really hard, you have the choice to make it better. And it might not feel like it. It might be difficult to get started. But the more you set yourself up for success, the more that you give back to yourself, the greater the rewards and the greater like how you feel will become. And oftentimes we go through hard things because it's our pivot point. If we're really comfortable, we don't move. We just stay where we are. We relax, we lounge, we're like, cool. But if something comes along and truly gives us a feeling of discomfort, now we're motivated. Now we're going to get up. Now we're going to do something. Now we're going to shake out that numb leg and start to get the blood flowing again, you know? So just know that things are happening for a reason, even if you can't see it. You are loved by, you know, the forces that be, whatever you call them, source, universe, God, whatever.
and we love you.
Yes. And we're all little pieces that come from that beautiful, great energy. Yeah. So we all have a path in life, and, you know, just find your purpose and you're going to do great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. All right. So all your info and your bio and links and everything is going to be in the show notes. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you to learn more about what you do with breath work, so that's going to be all down there. And again, like I said, I am so grateful you took the time to come on here and chat with me. It was amazing. And I look forward to talking with you again soon.
I'm so grateful for meeting you and connecting with you and all of your listeners. I love you all.
Thank you. Thank you for spending time with us inside the Heartful Healing Hub. If this story moved you, please consider sharing this episode or leaving a comment. Your words help others find this sacred space. If you or someone you love has a healing journey to share, we'd love to hear from you. And finally, if you would enjoy a gentle way to unwind after listening, visit the show notes to download your free tea ritual guide, Sip and Soften, a soul-soothing gift to nourish your inner healer. Until next time, be kind to yourself and trust what has always been within you. And remember, you are whole, you are healing, you are home.